So, good morning and welcome. As the title suggests, we're joined today by some of our ecosystem partners. And the idea here is speaking with landlords, making best use of the technology and the systems that they invest in. If anyone does want to reach out as part of this directly, my email address, I'll just go back, is there. My phone number is also on the screen. But I think Aristotle said that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, or you might have heard a more modern version of that analogy, which is 2 + 2 = 5. That is bringing together two great things to be an even better, bigger thing. And that's really how this journey began. And like all of Voicescape services, this wasn't something that we conjured up downstairs. This was something that was brought to us by our customers to say, we work with some of your ecosystem partners, the likes of allpay, Experian, PayPoint, Pay360. We also use Voicescape. How can we combine the two things together to have an even bigger impact? So that's a journey that we've been down, and that's what we're going to share with you today, how we've been able to use some of our ecosystem partners in conjunction with Voicescape technology to deliver something much better. So I'm really delighted today. I'm going to be joined by a number of our customers. So firstly, we've got Rob Frost from WHG. So really looking forward to hearing the journey that WHG, allpay and Voicescape have been on. I'm then going to introduce Jamie Allen. So Jamie is from Experian. So almost all of our services are underpinned by some sort of data validation by Experian, and a number of our customers are using Experian services for tracing, for informing their data and helping with their decision making with former tenants, things like that. And then I'll be joined by Dion and by Rachel from SNG, formerly Network Homes, who will be sharing their journey with Voicescape, and more recently, how they've been able to embed the PayPoint technology into that journey as well. And then obviously there'll be some time at the end for Q&A. So you're in the Livestorm platform today. You'll notice across the bottom, there are a number of tabs. So there's a chat tab. I've seen a number of you have found that already. So continue to use that. Say hello to your friends and peers in the sector. If there are any specific questions that you want the speakers today to answer, then please pop them in a different tab. It's called questions, and that'll be picked up by one of our moderators, and those questions then will be surfaced at the end in the Q&A. There'll also be a number of polls. I believe that the first poll is already live, so in between each speaker we're picking up on those polls and seeing what insight we can derive from that. So do have a look on the poll there. I think it's just multiple choice. Just put your vote in there, and we'll have a look at what those look like. So this webinar is being recorded, so you will be emailed a copy of it afterwards. And the only other thing to say is that hoping that we can stick to the agenda and be wrapped up by 11 o'clock for you and let you crack on with your busy days. I know what busy time of year this is, so I'm really pleased that you've taken the time out of your day to join us. So what I wanted to share with you is a very quick little bit of background as to why Voicescape lead with voice, why it's so powerful, but why it also needs to be backed up by all other forms of communication. And you'll start to see that thread running through this today. And this was a piece of work we ran with Accent Housing a few years ago. And what we did was a very simple message out to their tenant base. And that message was, please engage with us. We need to speak with you about how you're paying your rent arrears. And you can see from this, we got about a 13% response rate when we wrote to them using letters. About 25% of people responded, so almost double when we sent them a text message. Around 40% of people engaged when an officer manually picked up the phone. But when you then start to combine the power of that omni-channel engagement using Voicescape's collections tool, you get about 60, 70, sometimes 80% engagement levels. But you can see there with things like text message, with things like voice notes and nudges, you can actually have some really powerful impact at the right stage of escalation. And let's not forget, we're all different, okay? So what works for you might not work for your spouse, it might not work for your children. And in fact, that's where we've started to see the power of people like allpay, Pay360, PayPoint really starting to play an impact, because we're able to engage using smart links, using nudges, and using payment links to really start to drive the right behaviors at the right time. So many of you, I've seen lots of our customers on the call, will be very familiar with how our collection service works. And typically we would engage with a tenant by saying, hello, this is a call from your landlord. We'd like to speak with you about how you pay your rent. We can help you today. Please press 1 to speak with an officer now. This call is free of charge, or something like that. And then what we hope for, and what we often see, is tenants transferring through and engaging with an officer. But that's not always the best thing to do, because actually there are some low-level transactions that you might want tenants to have the option to self-serve. And actually, given the way workloads are going, given the way caseloads are going, the more people we can promote to self-serve, the better. And that's what all of our customers that are on the call today are going to talk to you about, how they've been able to drive that behavior to lead certain tenants at certain stage of escalation to start self-serving, making payments without the need for one of your expensive, highly trained, highly skilled officers ever getting involved. If you look at this quick survey, and this is something I did in the office last week, I asked everyone at Voicescape, if you were booking a restaurant, what would you want to do? And you can see there, the vast majority of people wanted to use online forms. They were happy, just a quick transaction. I can book that on my phone. I can book it online. But when you start to ask them what would they want to do when they're buying a car, so a bit more of a significant investment, most of them wanted to speak to the dealer. They wanted to ask about the mileage. They wanted to ask about the service history. They wanted to speak to a human being about the car that they were potentially looking at. But when we're buying a house, everybody wanted to do that face to face. Okay, so I think the point there, and it kind of proved the theory that I had, was that actually depending on the severity or the importance of the transaction, different forms of communication are going to be more appropriate. So what we've seen is, when we're maybe low level arrears, maybe early stage escalations, actually pushing those out to self-serve is really, really powerful. And actually, a lot of the time, tenants don't want to speak to one of your officers. So let's free them up. Let's free your officers up to speak to those people that are, struggling with higher level arrears or further stages of escalation, and get those more transactional payments done online. And that's what this looks like. We're able to work with you to build out a workflow that says at certain stages, at certain times, we will then send out smart messages with intelligent links with either PayPoint, allpay, Pay360, so your tenants aren't having to remember their reference numbers. That's all pre-populated in there, and they can very quickly make a payment. I think you'll be amazed when you start to see some of the results that our customers are having.
So, quick introduction from me. My name's Rob Frost, and I am the Income Operations Manager for WHG, and I look after the income collection, money advice, and residential property teams. And I've worked in housing for around about 10 years now. So here at WHG, we were formerly known as Walsall Housing Group, and we're based in Walsall and are the largest provider of social housing within the borough. So the majority of our stock is located in Walsall, but we also operate in 18 other local authorities as well across the whole of the Midlands, and that's continuing to expand as well with our development programme. Now, Walsall is in the top 10% of most deprived local authorities in England, and outcomes in terms of income, education, employment and child poverty fare quite badly compared to the national average. So that brings its own challenges regarding rent collection and tenancy sustainment. So it's always been a big aim for us as a business to ensure that it's as quick and easy as possible for a customer to make a payment. So it was back in 2022, and we knew we needed to make the customer experience simple. So we'd been a long-standing user of allpay, and over the pandemic, we'd also implemented the Voicescape Engage module, which had been really successful. But I suppose the module was actually a victim of its own success, as we were actually finding that we were taking lots of calls from customers who'd received some form of contact from Voicescape. And the only thing that these customers wanted to do was make a payment, From our perspective, these were non-value calls, as for the majority of them, these customers just needed a nudge to pay, really. Now, naturally, our preference is to get customers onto direct debit, as the stats in the sector back up that the higher the direct debit uptake, the higher the collection rate. And at WHG, our uptake is about 50%, which we've worked really hard towards achieving. But we do understand that direct debits are not the right method of payment for everyone. So despite us knowing that we needed to streamline the customer payment journey, it was actually a customer who came up with the idea of a payment link. And the housing advisor who'd been speaking to the customer asked the question in a team meeting about whether a link would be possible. So we got to work with contacting Voicescape and allpay to investigate whether some form of solution could be implemented. So it was actually in May 2022 that things started to come to fruition. So we set out the rough requirements for the link and thought of this as a nice to have, really, rather than a must have, and expected a solution to be delivered in weeks, if not months. But it just so happened that within 5 days, allpay had delivered a pay by link solution, which was also integrated into Voicescape's Engage module that we used on a daily basis. So as an income collection team, we were really pleased with the speed and ease of how this had been delivered, and we got to work with using it straight away. And the feedback from the team was really positive as well, as one of the main things that they came back to management with was that it just made their jobs a lot easier, as it removed a lot of the manual intervention of having to contact customers and spend time listening to customers type in their card details. So from that perspective, it was a huge time saver. So I've listed a few of the features of the solution on this slide. Now, one of the game changers for us in terms of customer experience is that we can embed the customer reference number and also the payment amount into the link, so that the only thing that the customer has to do is enter their card details. So although this isn't a huge thing or massively innovative, most customers don't know their rent account number off by heart. So this feature just really speeds up the transaction process for the customer significantly. The link also allows customers to make payments wherever and whenever they like, and that gives them that sense of empowerment, which for us as an organization was really important. You can also convert the link into a QR code. So we've utilized this on all our correspondence from early on in the recovery process all the way through to eviction notification letters. So it means that no matter where a customer is in the recovery process, they always have an easy option of paying if we're chasing them for money. Another thing that's proved really popular with the advisors as well is the use of a module where we can contact customers who have a failed direct debit with a voice note and also a payment link. Now, this contact has no option to direct transfer to an advisor, and that's intentional. And what we do is we analyze if payments have been made a couple of days later. Now, so far, we've sent 650 of these messages out to date. So that's 650 less calls that income advisors have had to make as an initial point of contact to try and pursue for that failed direct debit payment. And then one of the proactive things that we use the solution for is to target customers. So one cohort, for example, are universal credit claimants who pay us directly and don't have a direct debit set up. So we know that when their UC payment dates are, we can prompt them with reminders and a payment link to ensure that paying their rent is always at the forefront of their mind. And I think this has been really effective and there's been a change from the reactive approach that we've taken in the past. And so from a benefits perspective, we've seen a great number of them. The links facilitated collections of over £750,000 since its inception, and that equates to just over 3,500 unique transactions. Now, it's difficult to estimate how many of these transactions resulted in a call not being made into the business, but the number will be significant, and it's absolutely reduced contact into the business. Now, the way that WHG are set up means that all initial contact is charged through the customer contact center first. So this reduction in calls has also freed up capacity in our contact center, so they can focus on repairs issues, which is a huge issue and a big priority for the majority of landlords within the sector. Also, just to put some numbers out there, in the 12 months following implementation of the link, our arrears reduced by 0.04%. So although not huge, during this time, we'd actually predicted quite a big increase in rent arrears. So the link absolutely was a contributing factor in that performance, as it not only enabled increased collections, but it also freed up capacity for our income advisors to focus on complex cases and be more proactive rather than reactive, which we've historically been. And then the final benefit I've listed there is that the link has also helped us contribute to our corporate aim of delivering 70% of routine customer contact through self-service channels. So the link's been a nudge into the world of self-serve for some of our more digitally excluded customers, and it's empowered them to not only self-serve for their payments, but also for things such as repair requests via our online portal. So the benefits to the organisation as a whole have been far-reaching from just implementing this one feature that Voicescape and allpay offer. That's it from me, really. But to sum up, the solution's really, really simple. It's had a huge impact on our performance and how we actually operate as an income collection function. And it's just a great tool to have to contribute towards sustaining tenancies and bringing in the all-important rent.
Hey, thank you so much, Rob. Absolutely fascinating. And I think what people I think are really interested to hear is those three things really that you've talked about there. You know, what you've done is you've certainly increased revenue collection. You know, £750,000 is a significant amount of money. But more so, I think, you know, what people will be really interested to hear, particularly in the operating environment that income teams are in right now, is what that's meant to your team and the capacity that that's given them back. What have officers said to you about the time they feel they've maybe got back now?
It's definitely been a boost to morale. They can focus on the really important cases, universal credit cases, which are quite complex and are getting even more complex. They don't have to waste their time waiting for some maybe less tech-savvy customers to type in their card details. It's just efficiencies ultimately, and all our team are really pleased with the link when we first implemented it, and the feedback was fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much, Rob. We're going to get some questions, no doubt, come through. So I'll join you. I'll invite you to come back onto the stage at the end. But thanks ever so much, Rob. Thank you. I was just about to introduce Jamie. Here's Jamie. Jamie is from Experian. Again, loads of our customers are using service from Experian, and Jamie's going to explain how Experian support data, can support decision making, and again support that notion of 2 + 2 = 5. So without further ado, I'm going to jump off the stage. Big fans of Jamie Allen from Experian. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pete. So yeah, morning everybody. My name's Jamie Allen. I'm a senior partner manager within Experian, working in our partners and alliances team. I've been working with the Voicescape team for around 12 months now. So today I'm just going to take you through, give you a little bit of an overview of Experian, who we are, and then we'll get into a little bit of detail around the product and the solution that we're offering in conjunction with Voicescape, and get into some use cases as well. So for those of you who aren't aware of Experian, we're a global business. We've got a global strategy with regional relevance. So we've got around 22,000 people working for Experian across 32 different countries. We hold over 1.5 billion consumer credit history records across the globe, and 201 million business credit history records as well. We also offer around 165 million free memberships for consumers across the globe to take a look at their own credit score and credit history. We've got multiple different data sources, which we'll get into today. We're a market leader in a growing market, and we're also always looking for new data types and to find new use cases which can support client growth. Obviously, for us, quality of data is critical. We're a regulated business, so everything we do is in line with regulation. So what I wanted to take you through, guys, was kind of just a customer life cycle of the different touch points that we have with both consumers and and commercial entities as well. So we deal with a number of businesses that might be anything from some of the larger players in banking and financial services and telcos, utilities. We do a lot of work with local authorities and housing associations today, but also support consumers, SMEs, across different use cases. And generally this is how business is. So it might be that they're looking to work with us from a financial crime perspective. They may want to improve their originations journey. They're looking to do some modeling around how they can find and trace their customers, or it might be that they've got a lot of data that they just need to get into a reasonable order so that they can then start to build out different models and things like that. We are unique in terms of we are the only bureau that have got a consumer data set and also a commercial data set. So often we are building models that will align or take into consideration the two data sources there. So really unique. Our business is structured to offer unique value to specific requirements. So when it's aggregated, it brings significant value and help businesses to solve problems in that way. So again, this really is just to recap really in terms of what we do. We join the dots by supporting every stage of a customer life cycle. We're very, very keen and supportive of supporting financial health and education around credit history and sort of debt management, those types of things. We help our clients get ahead of the competition, and we enable access to data that everybody can trust. So, through our partnership with Voicescape, we offer a solution which is called SuperTrace. So SuperTrace essentially is a powerful, scalable batch tool for finding and reconnecting with a large volume of lost customers. So it assists with collections, it can reunite lost assets, or it can be used as a cross-sell solution. Now more than ever, individuals can move addresses or change the details with ease, and getting access to the information you can trust, we believe, is a challenge. Very easy to lose touch with customers due to the ease in which the customer can move house or change phone number. So ensuring you contact the right person at the correct address, we believe, is vital for building long-term relationships. And also, I think, as we touched on previously, this can help you to reduce your time spent working on traces and tracing cases, which can be very, very time consuming. So although we do tracing as well, there are different data sets that we can add onto the tracing element. So that could be anything from, is that individual using buy now, pay later data, right through to can we view their payroll and work report verifications information as well. What really differentiates us really is a superior data quality. There may be some of you out there that are using other credit reference agencies to get that data, which is fine and totally understandable. As a business, we do run a lot of retros and side-by-sides for you guys to run comparisons. So if there is, if you guys are using a provider, we'd be more than happy to run a side-by-side analysis in terms of seeing what uplift we could potentially get as part of a retro. So in terms of the benefits, what we're providing here is an automated search process, so reduces case by case reviews, so hopefully helping you guys to save time and money. We provide the most recent phone number on a record, so we can also give you alternative contact numbers such as their work and mobile numbers when you're tracing somebody. We've got a functionality that will allow you to keep up to date through a monitoring facility, so you can receive alerts. If you've got data, we can append and enrich those customer records within, as I touched on earlier, with value-added insights. Have they had bankruptcies, any CCJs, things like that. And you know, one of the key things for us is that we will be helping you to meet regulatory requirements as an FCA regulated business. Where we work with Voicescape is on their existing collections FTA offering in two key ways really. So one is to trace new members. So where a tenant has failed to be contacted by the landlord during the normal FTA processing, the Experian SuperTrace functionality will see new updated contact numbers and are they available for that tenant. Where new numbers are identified, Collections FTA will then automatically reprocess that FTA case with the new numbers without manual input required from you. So where new numbers are identified, these will be shared with the client being you, to update your records. And the second part to this is around tracing new addresses. So where a customer has no forwarding address for a tenant, Collections FTA will be able to utilise the Experian SuperTrace service to see if revised address details can be sourced. So when we're forwarding, addresses are identified, these will be sent back to you for invoicing or debt chasing processes. So that, in a nutshell, is a quick overview of Experian, the relationship that we have with through SuperTrace with Voicescape. You know, some of the key things, I suppose, if you guys are using this data and want to run some type of retro against that, we can do that relatively easy and in a short space of time to turn that round. Thank you.
Fascinating. And I think, you know, Jamie, you'll hopefully be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but we ran some data recently with one of our customers that had, I think, gave us a list of 400 tenants that through the telephone contact details they had, the addresses that they had, they weren't able to engage. And those 400 tenants, when we ran it through SuperTrace, we came back with about 600 or 700 new phone numbers for them, didn't we?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so small sample of data. Ideally, we'd run it on a larger data set because we could see a better predictive uplift. But I think just by running that small sample of data really showed the value. And the interesting part will then be how that data is then utilised and what uplift it will then bring for your clients.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think, you know, the upside also, you know, that many of you will already be Experian customers, and I'm sure, and, you know, maybe you do SuperTrace one at a time on a pro forma. What the technology link that Voicescape has allows us to do a bulk upload, so we can do that knowing which numbers have failed, and then bulk upload those to Jamie's service and get data back and straight back into the collections platform. So seamlessly, we're improving the quality of the data and already trying to generate revenue before your officers really even know about it. So very, very clever and important service at that end of a tenancy, and we all know that golden window opportunity for collecting former tenant debt. So the sooner we can get onto that using, you know, the old analogy, 2 + 2 = 5, the Experian SuperTrace and Voicescape collections, the better. So thank you ever so much for that, Jamie. We'll have some questions, no doubt. So again, I'll invite Jamie back on to the stage at the end there. I did forget to give us the results of the first poll. So let me run through polls 1 and 2 just before poll 3 goes live. So we asked about integration. How integrated is your payment provider into your current engagement process? And overwhelmingly, people are saying it's just moderately integrated. I think that was kind of the middle answer. And then, you know, the next biggest answer was not integrated well at all. So hopefully there's plenty of scope for conversations. You know, if you're conscious that, you know, maybe things could be better, and you've heard some of the results from Rob, you're about to hear from SNG, Sovereign Network Group, then, you know, there's an opportunity to have a conversation with us about how we can better integrate that payment provider link into your workflow, into your escalation process, into your customer journey, really. More recently, we asked you which was the most important aspect of arrears collection to your organization. And I think in line with the kind of the three strands that Rob highlighted, you know, increasing revenue, freeing up officer capacity, and improving customer experience, overwhelmingly and not surprisingly, seeing the delegate list and who's on here, it's all about increasing revenue, right? And I think, you know, we're in an operating environment where it's a numbers game, anything we can do to increase revenue, but then, you know, closely followed actually by freeing up officer time. I think one typically supports the other. We're about to go live with the third poll, and the third poll is asking which payment provider are you currently using? Options there being allpay, PayPoint, Pay360, or other, or even none. So yeah, get voting away there. Okay, so I'm really looking forward now to introducing, for the second time actually on a Voicescape webinar, we've got Rachel Elston and Dion Somerville from Sovereign Network Group. So I'm going to jump off and hand over to the pair of you. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Rachel Elston. I'm the IT project manager from Network Homes, from SNG, formerly Network Homes.
I'm Dion Somerville. I'm the leasehold income manager for SNG. I'm just about to talk to you a little bit about who we are. I think Rachel's just going to share the slides for you so you can all see that. But I'll start off. So SNG, we were formed in October of last year, so October 2023, and that was Sovereign Housing Association and Network Homes coming together as one organisation. So we are a charitable housing association, and our purpose is to provide good, affordable homes with the foundation of a better life. My vision is to create thriving communities over generations for our residents and customers. So formerly Network Homes provided over 21,000 affordable homes across London and the South East, and SNG in total now provide over 84,000 homes across London and the South East and the south of England as well. I'm just going to pass you over to Rachel to talk to you about some of the results that we've experienced so far.
Our PowerPoint slide has gone a bit funny, but you can see we went live in December 2022 for our former tenants. We went live with a specific portion of our former tenants, but we went live. We had one income officer, but she was struggling to contact everyone, whether it was through, she used to send loads of text, she used to call our customers and not have to leave loads of voicemails. So we found that Voicescape was our solution to tackle that problem. There's been one income officer, she's on it about 2-3 times a week, and so far we've collected 192k using Voicescape with just one income officer. We went live with our general rented current accounts in around May and June 2023. They use, we sell it to around 2 income officers, and then we usually have about 3 to take calls, taking in consideration the callbacks. They use it 2 times per week, and we've collected 465k just by using Voicescape. At the moment, we are implementing it for our leasehold income team, which is where we are going to implement the pay by link. I'm just going to pass you over to Dion to talk a bit about why we have decided to integrate Voicescape and PayPoint.
So as Rachel says there, in terms of rolling this out to our leaseholder and shared owner customers across London and Hertfordshire, we have been working on this project since September of last year, and we're about to implement and go live at the beginning of April. we will be including the pay by link in our text communication. And just to talk to you a little bit about that 2 + 2 = 5 and what the benefits are, both for our organisation and for our customers. So obviously we're looking at maximising our income collection, and how we do that is by incorporating that link into a text message, allowing that swift and easy payment for our customers. That in turn improves the customer experience. Those that want to speak to us are able to have and need to speak to us are able to have more meaningful conversations, and it enhances the customer engagement, improving the customer experience and just giving them the option of how it is that they're engaging with us. In terms of the impact and the benefits for our staff, some of the previous speakers have spoken at length there about the benefits of that and how much officer time is freed up so that they can really focus their efforts on dealing with other things. You know, perhaps that looks like legal work and those far more complex cases. And also then again, there is a prevention. It helps us to prevent taking legal action by engaging with our customers early, giving them those options, and helps us to sustain our tenancies and leases.
So we just wanted to talk a bit about what it looked like for our customers. So what we do is our housing management provider created us a report. We worked with them to create us a report to with the list of customers that we would like to contact, whether they had bounced direct debits, their arrears were increasing and we hadn't contacted them within 4 or 5 weeks. So we automatically upload these customers on a daily basis. And so they will get a call from Voicescape, and I'm just going to try, hopefully you'll be able to hear this, but we opted for our income officers to record the recording themselves rather than a professional do it, just because we wanted it to be more, we relate to the customers more, so they actually knew our voices. So this is what, if it plays, hopefully this works, but someone give me a shout if it doesn't. It'll take, I think it takes like a little while.
This is a call from SNG. We'd like to speak to you about an outstanding balance in your account with us. If using a mobile and would like to make an online payment to bring your account up to date, please press 9 to receive a PayPoint link by SMS, or press 1 to speak to a leasehold income officer. Thank you.
So once the customer receives that, they can either press 1 to come directly through to one of our income officers, or if they press 9, they'll also hear our income officer a recorded message to say thank you. We will send you an SMS shortly with a secure link for you to make an online payment. Once that is said, the customer will hang up and they will receive a text message which looks a bit like this. It just says who the text message is for. It tells them their arrears amount, and it tells them that they can click a link with their payment reference to make the payment straight away. So once they click this link, it takes them to our PayPoint page, which it automatically brings up the customer. It's a bit tricky to see, but it automatically brings up the customer name. It will pull through the customer's payment reference and their full amount of arrears, although they can change the amount if they would like. All they need to do is fill out their name and their card details and click make a payment, and then that payment will come straight through to us. So it's quick and easy for our customer, and it saves our income officers time, as they don't have to stay on the phone and take calls, so they're able to focus on the more complex cases.
So in terms of the reports that are available to support us, there are a whole suite of reports available there. For the purposes of today, just focusing on a couple of those, we can report on customers who have requested a link. So that would be beneficial for us, just to see, what proportion of our customers are opting for that link option, what proportion are opting to talk to us in person. We're also able to get a breakdown of all the transactions that have resulted as a result of a Voicescape contact. So, how much, at what time, and all of that detail involved there in that report. It also gives us a breakdown of successful transactions, including the amount. So that's really helpful in terms of performance reporting?
So, like I said before, we've currently gone live with our former tenants on our general rented. We've gone live with our current accounts in our general rented. At the moment, we're about to go live in a couple of weeks with our leasehold income team, which will include the pay by link. Our next step is to implement pay by link within our general rented team, which I think it only took about a week to do. So it was really, really quick and efficient, much quicker than we thought it would be. Voicescape sorted it all out for us. But yeah, so that was quite quick. Another next step we're going to look to do is Voicescape offer a text-only notification pot where we can upload specific customers to just receive text messages with these pay by links if we like. Another step is PayPoint and Voicescape are in the process of creating email notifications. It's not ready yet. But when it is ready, we're going to look to send notifications to our customers via emails as well as text and voicemails and the other things that Voicescape offer. We also have the option to do a campaign, and we might look to do it around maybe the 53-week rent charge or UC verifications or managed migration. But this gives us the opportunity to have another pot where we just focus on a specific area that we want to target. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our email addresses provided.
Thanks very much.
Hello, thank you both. That was brilliant, as always. Just some incredible feedback there. You know, those numbers, I think, speak for themselves, don't they? So if I could invite Jamie and Rob back into the room as well, we'll review the third and final poll, and we'll also pick up some of the questions that have been sent through, and then there's a couple of questions that we may have as well. So I'll wait till everyone's back in. There's Rob and there's Jamie. Fantastic. So and before we get into this, thank you all of you. Really insightful, very interesting and powerful presentations, backed up with some incredible numbers there as well. There's already been a few comments in the chat about, you know, how impressive those numbers have been. So thank you for sharing that. So the third poll revolved around which payment provider you use. So of the 43 votes, we've got 27 using allpay, we've got 7 using PayPoint, we've got 7 using other or none. I'll be interested to know maybe if there's any others that you know we're not engaged with, and then we've got 2 using Pay 360 from Access Group. So I suspect there's maybe a couple of local authorities using other payment providers on there, maybe from their housing management system providers as well. The good news is, you know, almost everybody's using something, right? So, you know, let's see whether there's a conversation to be had about how we can supercharge that investment in technology. So I'm now going to just dive into a couple of the questions. And in fact, I'm going to open this up to Rob and then to Rachel and Dion. And it's from James Varrett at Home Group. And it's a really great question. And it says, regarding pay by link, what has customers' feedback been around the text thinking that they might be fraudulent and possibly not legitimate? How have the organizations overcome this? So I'll pose that firstly to Rob, and then Rachel, if you could pick up afterwards as well, that'd be great.
You're right, James, that was an issue at first. So initially there were queries from customers around that issue, but we put messages in our letters and on the website explaining that the link is legitimate, and when we're having general conversations with customers and explaining to them that we'd potentially be sending out payment links, that kind of put customers at ease. We're completely implemented with the link now. We've had it for well over a year, and there are no real queries from customers anymore. I've not had any feedback from any of the team saying that this is a problem. So I think it as long as you've got a strong comms plan, you will be fine.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point there. And I think same question to SNG, Rachel, Dion.
So yeah, we took a similar approach to Rob. We put out quite a lot of comms, we put it on our website just to let them know that this is coming, what number they would receive it from. We put it in our resident newsletter. If you receive a text or a call from these number, this is legit, this is us. But when our customers call in to ask about it, it's just we made our contact center aware about the different numbers. It's just about reassuring them. One way we work through this is when we get calls, and we take them through data protection, rather than saying, oh, can you confirm your date of birth? Can you confirm your email address? Which then puts that back up, well, you called us. We tell them their date. We say, oh, your date of birth is the 27th of February, please tell me the year. Or we say, you live at 15 Smith Close, please confirm the postcode, just so they know that it's us and that we know a bit of information, because at first they was quite apprehensive because they wasn't used to the numbers that were calling, but we have overcome that.
Yeah. And what I really like about what a lot of our customers are offering is offering it in different ways. So rather than just sending a text message out, you're offering that text message as part of the call. So if you'd like a text message to make a secure payment online, press 9, and that's giving them that freedom of choice, isn't it? They can either speak to an officer. It's like the graphs that I showed earlier. You're booking a holiday, are you buying a car, or you're buying a house? How do you want to deal with this particular transaction? So hopefully that, James, goes some way to answering that question there. So Jamal from Curo has asked, and again, I'll put it to the same audience, with regards to timely targeted messaging to customers, is there a way that we can specify dates to send these messages in line when a customer receives their UC or is paid from their workplace? He's currently using Outlook or a calendar reminder to remind him to send these out. Now, I know that, from a technical perspective, this is absolutely something that the Voicescape collections and engage services will do, and that will then feed into the payment links. But Rob or Rachel, have you any experience of how you might be able to build this into your workflow?
Yeah, from our perspective, we've used our arrears management system and ensured that it's able to identify when customers will be receiving their universal credit payment dates. Once we've been able to identify that, we created a workflow so that regular files could be sent to Voicescape, and then the relevant comms get sent out to those customers. So you would need to look into your arrears management system and see if you can create workflows. And if you can do that, then it's a very simple process.
Yeah, so we've done it a bit differently. We've for the leasehold income team, we've done it in line with their arrears process. So we will automatically send arrears letter 1 and arrears letter 2, and then after 7 days, if the customer hasn't made a payment or anything like that, then it will go on to Voicescape. So we've actually joined it quite up. So we haven't really done it around universal credit, but if universal credit came in, then it wouldn't go on to Voicescape.
Yeah,
that's how we've done it.
That's great, thank you. I'm going to go to Joanna's question now. So Joanna asked and I don't know whether it's been answered already. I think there was something in Rachel's presentation that alluded to this, but the question is this: can customers amend the required amount in the payment link as often bounce DDs as a result of insufficient funds? Really good point. But Rachel, do you want to pick that one up?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as they receive the pay by link, it does come up with the full arrears amount or whatever their balance is, but you can delete it and input a new amount if you can't afford it, if they can't pay the whole amount. So yeah, that's fine.
And we can actually do some really neat stuff with a lot of the payment providers around failed direct debits. So get notifications immediately when a direct debit fails, and that can then trigger an engagement, the voice note that Rachel played earlier to say, look, we know this has happened with your direct debit, would like to speak to you, or if you want to make a payment, here's a payment link. So we can get that immediate feedback. So it's really kind of like bringing that whole journey full circle by understanding when direct debits have failed immediately. So some really nice integrations there. Jamie, quick question from myself, and I was just thinking about this. We're moving into uncharted water. I think the operating environment we're getting into is getting really tough now. What advice would you have to housing associations about better use of data or their tracing strategy to support them for setting themselves up for success this year?
Yeah, so I think the key is in the data. What what data do you hold? Is it fit for purpose? And if it's not fit for purpose, you know, what tools are there out there to get it into the correct fashion that you're going to be able to maximise that from? So whether that's, you know, sort of some type of data append, whether it's enriching what you've currently got, whether it's getting more data, or so yeah, I think they would be the key takeaways. And then outside of that, what other data do you need that can supplement the data that you've got? So are you interested in, you know, where people's credit scores sit, for example? Are you interested in whether they're using buy now, pay later data? What are the contributing factors that can that you need to know on those particular individuals?
Yeah, I think we're seeing, you know, write-offs and bad debt provision is, you know, such a hot topic right now. And anything we can do to support the recovery of those former tenant debt, and, you know, any of those data points that you've just referred to there, Jamie, that can support that can minimise and mitigate against bad debt provision is going to be really important. So, one final question, I think, for Rob and for Rachel and Dion is around unexpected benefits, really. And, you know, I think we've seen, I think between you, I quickly totted up. It was about £1.5 million of extra revenue collected since implementing the technology, those specific links, which is just phenomenal, really, just across 2 landlords. But is there any unexpected benefits that you've noticed, either from officers or from tenants, or even from yourself, you know, management positions, that maybe you want to share?
And even in terms of where my team are on their journey, so we're yet to actually implement it, but they've been heavily involved in the whole project, and there's just a sense of the team really coming together. I mean, that they are here to collect income, that is their role. So the fact that this is going to make that easier, that they're going to have, you know, data and analytics to be able to report and to support them in that job. I'm just noticing a real sense of the team coming together and an excitement about what's to come.
Yeah. That's really great to hear, because it's a tough job. It really is. And anything we can do to support their job and make their 8 hours a day more enjoyable and easier, the better, right? Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Rob, anything to add from WHG?
I wouldn't say unexpected, but I know that the feedback I've had from the team is that they've enjoyed being able to look at the stats and comparisons of before implementation and after, to see what benefits it's bringing to the team as a whole. They're already fully aware that it's created capacity for them to deal with more complex cases. But I think just to have actual figures and graphs in the team meetings where they can actually see the real benefits that it brings has been a real morale booster.